Yo, what's up guys? Today we're going to be talking about the Galaxy S10. Just, doing a revisit of this phone for, people who are trying to buy it this month or, looking to use this phone for 2023. It's still a very solid phone and I think very unique in terms of the Galaxy S10 series lineup, because you have the smaller S10e, you have the bigger S10 Plus, and this is sort of the sweet spot. It's not too big and it's not too small. It's one thing that I really like about it. And it's come down in price to $180. You can expect this phone, its final price drop will probably be around $150 by next year, sometime next year. So it's a very cheap older flagship phone that actually offers a lot. And the reason why I love recommending these phones to you guys is because you get so much in terms of power, in terms of your competitors, which would be mid-range phones and budget phones. It blows those phones out of the water, actually. Like I said, the only downside to this phone is this was the last major OS update, so you will only be getting security patches for approximately like 2 years. So let's go ahead and talk about the Galaxy S10 here. So I want to start off with the build quality and overall the feel for this phone in the hand. It feels awesome in the hand, and it's also, like I said, it's a very nice sweet spot. So it's not too big for people with smaller hands. It's not too small, so you might not like something like a Galaxy S10e because it is a little bit smaller. This phone does have a very nice display, actually. It's got a full 1440p display. It's a 6.1 inch display, dynamic AMOLED. It's HDR10 Plus, and it is a full 1440p display. So it looks extremely sharp when you're playing games and when you're watching movies. Being able to watch 2K content on a 6.1 inch display is really awesome. In addition to that, just the colors on the screen just really pop on here as well too. It's got 550 for the PPI. So it's a super sharp display. And not only that, but you do have the punch hole up here as well too, which is really nice. So just, looking at this panel is really nice. It also has a curved screen as well too. So it gives it still that very, luxury sort of flagship feel. I'm a big fan of the curved screens. A lot of people don't like them. But yeah, I really like it on here. It still makes the phone look extremely modern, even in 2022, basically going into 2023, it still looks like a modern day phone. Alright, so I do want to go ahead and talk about the hardware. So one of the awesome things about these older flagship phones is for people who love headphone jacks, this phone still has a headphone jack, guys. So if you're somebody that just has to have, wired headphones, then this definitely will have that. Not only that, but it does have SD card support as well, which a lot of flagship phones do not have. So that's why a lot of people like buying these older flagship phones for the additional storage in the headphone jack. It's also IP68 dust and water resistant as well too. And I think the design still looks really good on this phone. I think it still retains a very, quality look to it. It doesn't look, super old in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Let me know. One of the main reasons I tell people to buy phones like this instead of buying, let's say, an alternative like a Galaxy A53 or any of Samsung Galaxy A20 series phones, because those are the phones that are, competing with this phone. Basically, this phone blows it out of the water when it comes to gaming performance. So this phone has the Snapdragon 855 Adreno 640. You have the micro SD card support, so you have that expandable storage to put a lot of stuff on here. And then you also have on here 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. Basically, this phone is a gaming beast. I did a full gaming test. If you guys want to check that out, just type it in the search bar. And you will be able to play PUBG HDR Extreme. Great settings, runs really smooth. Call of Duty Mobile ran really great. Fortnite did a really good job on here. This phone kills it when it comes to gaming performance, guys. So that is something that I absolutely love about this phone. Also, the 855 chip is pretty efficient when it comes to heat. So even during like an hour gaming session on this phone, you're not going to get, typically, well, I wasn't getting any crashes and it wasn't really overheating or anything like that. So I had really no issues really gaming on this phone. So it's just a much, much better alternative to buying a flagship phone, and it's much better than buying a mid-range phone, which those phones like a A53, A52, A20 series phone, those phones are not going to get you the graphical settings and the consistent FPS that a phone like the Galaxy S10 will. So definitely consider that when you're making a purchase, especially if you're a gamer. That's the One UI update, and it pretty much has everything that a Galaxy S22 Ultra would have, besides like the S Pen features and stuff like that. You still have your Samsung desktop support, secure folders, reverse wireless charging. It has NFC, Dolby Atmos. Pretty much everything you would find in the newer phones is actually in the Galaxy S10 series phone. So that's something that's really awesome. It throws a lot of people off. So I literally mean everything that you would find that are essential features you still have on this phone. So that's definitely awesome highlight to have. And also, let's talk about some of the additional features. The fingerprint scanner is still very fast on here. You can also take advantage of the face unlock as well too. So no issues with that. Face unlock works really fast. And also, this phone still has some pretty good stereo speakers actually. Really good quality from the top speaker. Just really good bass quality, really good mids and highs, just a very crisp sound. So that is really awesome as well too. What about the cameras on the Galaxy S10? So you have a 12 megapixel standard, a 12 megapixel telephoto. It does 2x optical zoom. And then you have a 16 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 60. And then you have a 10 megapixel selfie cam that also shoots in 4K 60. I did a comparison with this phone with a couple other phones, a couple newer phones. It still takes pretty impressive shots, honestly. The Galaxy S10 can still churn out some very highly detailed, good dynamic range shots. Very classic Samsung image processing, making everything, you know, very colorful, very lively. It still takes pretty good shots in, you know, medium to definitely well lit lighting conditions. The ultra wide is pretty consistent. The 2x is pretty nice. So it takes really good shots and good lighting. The only area where you could say that this phone starts to show its age is probably in lower light settings. So when you're in lower light settings, you probably will get a softer basically a softer shot, especially I noticed that with the selfie cam compared to newer phones. But basically, if you're in good to, you know, just good outdoor light, man, this will take some still pretty impressive shots. I think the shots you guys are seeing, I think they pretty much speak for themselves here. I think they are very, very nice still for this price range, honestly. So let's go ahead and talk about the battery life. So this phone actually has a little bit battery life, a little bit better battery life than the Galaxy S10e. It definitely does over 4 hours of screen on time. I would give this phone a battery rating of about like 5 hours and 30 minutes, which is pretty good considering the size of this phone. So definitely not bad by any means, especially again for the size of this phone. But you guys who have the Galaxy S10, let me know what kind of screen on time are you getting. I can pretty much confidently get like 5 hours, 30 minutes. A full day is really 6 hours, but this phone gets close to about a full day's battery life if you're not doing like crazy gaming on it. So battery life is pretty good. Not only is battery life good, but you have all of your sort of luxury features here as far as the wireless charging and also the reverse wireless charging as well too. So if you want to charge up some earbuds or something, this phone is able to do that no problem. So the battery experience is pretty good on this device. I think the only thing that is a little bit dated is that it only charges at 15 watts, so it might feel a little bit slow. But other than that, you still get fairly good battery life with the Galaxy S10. So I really like this flagship phone. Like I said, my favorite thing about the phone is probably the size. This is probably my ideal size for a phone for me personally. I don't have that big of a hands, but it doesn't feel too small and it doesn't feel super big. So I really like that. I really like the power of this phone. SD card support, headphone jack, pretty good cameras on here. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.